Levi Hansen at River of Life Chiropractic, and we're going to be doing a Q&A again with the doc. And we have Mike Duffy here who's going to be asking the questions. So take it away.
Yeah, I'm just confirming that YouTube says we're live because I think it did not work last time we did it. So, and I see it says live on Restream. So, hey, now it says we're live.
Let's go.
I think so. It says live. Let me just verify. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Okay, Dr. Levi. What can someone do at home for neck pain?
So when you are at home and you can't get into a chiropractor, can't go to a massage therapist, can't go to an acupuncturist, whenever you're just sitting there on your phone and you start to feel some neck pain, I would suggest doing some neck stretches. That'll help temporarily with the pain. What that looks like is just leaning your head away and then helping pull those muscles at the top. So pulling the top of your head to help stretch the muscles there, both ways, forward, forward, and back. That usually tends to help. A lot of people, like we talked about last time with migraines, they tend to do some of those stretches, and that does help quite a bit. Um, Also, you can do some exercises. So um, I usually prescribe cervical retractions, which is, you're giving yourself a double chin there. It's not the most glamorous exercise to do, but it does help re retrain the muscles in your neck to have that proper cervical curvature. Those tend to help with neck pain. We also have neck balms or muscle balms like Tiger Balm. I believe Mike talked about Deep Blue earlier. That tends to help decrease the tension in the muscles. But also make sure that you wash your hands after. You don't want to get it in your eyes. That's the not very fun part of it. But yeah, all those different things do tend to help um, with the neck pain at home.
Okay. And similar treatment for low back pain?
Yeah, so with low back pain, it's a little different. I know that whenever you start to have low back pain, it's usually from sitting for long periods of time or standing for long periods of time. I usually recommend doing some pelvic tilts while you're sitting at your desk or sitting in the couch. If you start to have that low back pain, you can start just moving your hips forward and back, just creating motion in your lumbar spine or your low back and your hips. What happens is you get so focused on sitting with your hips forward that it just keeps stressing the back part of your spine. So just making sure that we're moving those hips and moving that low back, that tends to help with the pain quite a bit. Also doing some stretches, some hamstring, some glute, and then some low back stretches. Those tend to help. I know you can't always do those at work, but if you have some time to go out and sit down and stretch your glute and hamstring, that tends to decrease some of the muscle tension, which in turn helps with the pain there. And then also the balms, same thing. Throw it on your low back. Um, any topical gel. I mean, you can get the like Salon Paw, the pain patches, but ultimately, I think the balms are better, at least more holistic in that aspect. Those tend to help just relax those muscles a little bit better.
Okay, perfect. Perfect advice. I know we've tried a bunch of different balms, and of course, the warning is you may have forgotten you've used it. Even if washing your hands, if you've forgotten you've used a balm 3, 4, 5 hours ago, especially on back pain, and you're like, hey, it's time for a shower, you may feel it again because I've been there, done that. So, um, it's just fun part of life when you're getting older and trying to bring yourself some relief. Last week you did add cold compress, but was that just for dealing with migraines and headaches, or?
So you can also do a cold compress. I usually recommend that more for migraines and headaches because I've found that migraines tend to react better to the cold compress, just decreasing the inflammation in the muscles there or in the forehead there. But yeah, if you want to throw some ice on the low back or on the neck, that does help. I mean, you don't always have access to a cold compress at work, so um, but that absolutely would help.
Okay. What are some causes to neck pain?
So different. There's a lot of different causes. Usually, there's a traumatic cause, whether that's back in the history or your history, where like when you were younger, you went in a car accident, or you had a fall, or a dirt bike accident, something like that. Um, it causes an injury to the joints in your neck. So when that happens, the joint locks down, and when it gets locked down, it creates inflammation in that joint and it swells. And so then the body starts to tension the muscles around it to try and protect itself. So when it starts to do that, it's just the body adapting to that stress. And over time, it'll eventually send the proper signals to decrease that inflammation as the body heals. So that's the traumatic. And then the chronic aspect is if that joint gets stressed and injured and then doesn't heal properly, then it gets stuck in that restricted pattern, and those muscles are tense, and it causes that long-term pain. And when that happens, the body's just constantly sending the signal like pain, 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 because it hasn't healed from that initial trauma or injury. And what needs to happen is whenever you have something like that, I highly recommend going to see somebody who can help retrain the body in knowing that, hey, this joint, it's okay. We don't have to have this pain anymore, because when it's not, and it goes unchecked, that's whenever the chronic pain flares up. I gave the example of whenever you sprain your ankle, that ankle swells, right? And whenever it swells, it can cause different compensations in your body. So, you start to limp to try not to put pressure on the ankle. And then that limp causes your hips to go on level, because your hips are trying to compensate for the limp. And then when the hips go off, then the lumbar, your low back starts to change. And then that'll go up the chain. And eventually, you could have sprained your ankle and now you have headaches because of the way your body's just compensated during that injury process.
Okay. Lots of trauma. That's what.
Yeah, yeah. Ultimately, it's either
I get where you're coming from.
yeah.
What does chiropractic help with?
Chiropractic helps with many different things. You ask, 20 chiropractors here in College Station what chiropractic is, and they're going to give you 20 different answers. But ultimately, what a chiropractor does is we restore motion into joints that aren't moving properly. Some chiropractors like to do more physical therapy aspects of chiropractic. And that's more like exercises, movement patterns, modalities, different things of that sort. But I feel as a chiropractor, we are uniquely qualified to deliver adjustments. So I just do the adjustments, and then I give my patients exercises to do at home to help support the adjustments there. And that really helps with like the long-term aspect of it. So what we do is when a joint's not moving properly, like the example I just gave, we restore motion into the joint. And then whenever the joint's moving properly, that decreases the swelling, because the body says, hey, we're actually moving and we're not restricted, and we don't have to protect this area anymore. And we essentially break the pattern that the body's in of that chronic pain or of that tension, so that it can relax and finally be able to turn off that pain signal that keeps going back and forth. And the thing is pain isn't a bad thing. It's just a warning signal that the body's telling you, like, hey, there's something wrong here. We need to get it fixed. And so when you can turn that pain signal off, then that's whenever the body returns back to normal and those stress patterns stop happening. So chiropractic, it's a very wide range of different things. But for me, I would say it's us moving those joints that aren't moving.
Okay, perfect. What exactly is the popping noise I hear during an adjustment?
I really like this question.
Are you traumatized from that question, or
A little bit?
okay?
You know, people come in, they're very scared about getting their neck popped and stuff, and it's not the bones cracking. It's not, you know, we're not doing anything out of the ordinary movement of the body. What it is a pressure change inside the joint, and when that pressure changes quickly, it creates a vacuum, and that popping noise occurs. So, like, let's say you pop your knuckle, you pull it and it pops because you're changing the pressure inside that joint. Any joint that you have, you know, your fingers, your elbows, your shoulders, your knees, your toes. You can pop your toes. What it is just, again, that gas release of that pressure change. It's not, we're not cracking the bones, we're not breaking bones. It's just that movement of the joint. And with that pressure change, it tends to create more motion in the joint, and that's where that relief comes from.
And it's not arthritis, correct?
Yes, no, that's the other thing. No, so that is a myth. Popping your knuckles causes arthritis. It actually does the opposite. It helps. The more a healthy joint is a moving joint, and the more the joint moves, the less likely that arthritis is going to occur.
Because I heard that all growing up. I told you that. My father's like, you can't. But I found, since I was an athlete, and it was winter was shoveling snow and hockey. It's all knees, right? It's all knees.
Yep.
And then summertime was track and field, which is literally all knees and a little bit of upper body, depending on the track and fields. I find it all the time when I'm walking and I'm popping. My wife does not like it, but my knees pop like crazy, and is like, I don't feel a difference before and after. If it's relief, great. It's just me moving.
Yeah, and you know, some people, they say they got like hitches in their neck and it like pops and clicks. And I mean, unless there's like an underlying issue where it's like there's an instability there, like it's usually fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You make me feel better. No.
Good.
Okay, so popping is good. That's movement. It's the lack of movement that causes arthritis, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. What are some lifestyle changes you can make to help decrease pain and increase longevity?
So some lifestyle changes you can make. I usually go to three fairly, I mean, they're not large lifestyle changes. The first one is exercise, for sure. Just moving your body. Motion is life. You know, motion in the joints keeps a healthy joint. Motion of the body keeps a healthy body. And you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to, you know, go and do a CrossFit workout for your first time in the gym. Just moving, like walking for 20 to 30 minutes, even 10 minutes, like that is better than being sedentary. Because again, when you're the lack of motion, you have degenerative changes and things along that nature. So if you're sedentary, your body isn't optimized and moving to its best ability. So increasing the exercise in your day, that is 100% one of the first things I would do. It just helps increase blood flow, increase endorphins, and the endorphins decrease pain, cardiovascular health, you know, all sorts of different things with that, you know, increased muscle mass, like that, all those things, like they all add to longevity and decrease in pain. And obviously you can get hurt doing certain exercises. That's why I say, like, don't go and do CrossFit, or don't go and like kill yourself at your first workout. You know, you don't have to go crazy. You can just walk, you know, just get your body moving. That's going to be one of the main things to start. The second thing I would recommend is staying away from processed foods. Your body was made to digest natural whole foods. And these processed foods, yes, they're a lot cheaper, but in the long run, they cause more issues than the money aspect of it, right? Because if you're always putting processed foods, high fructose corn syrup, dyes into your body, like those things are being digested and turned into what your body is composed of. So try finding a place that you can get whole foods, unprocessed foods, whole meats, potatoes, veggies, all those different things. A lot of people say it's expensive, and I would agree with them for a majority of the time. Like, you go to the store, you try and buy a steak, and it's like 12, $15 for a pound, and you can't always afford that. And that's why I like going to places like Aldi. Aldi has really affordable prices for foods like that. You can get the whole unprocessed foods for a fraction of the price. So I would highly recommend that, or Costco. Get a Costco membership. It's like, I think, like $60, and you can get bulk food for a lot cheaper than it would be just buying one. But yeah, just making sure that you're cooking your food. That's one of the main things, is like something that you have to cook. I know it is kind of time consuming to cook and like have that. It's easier to just throw something in a microwave, but being able to cook your food and have something that doesn't have all those processed ingredients in it, that's going to be a really big factor in the longevity of your body and in your health. Again, those processed foods, they have those different ingredients that causes inflammation in the gut, inflammation in your intestines, brain fog, all sorts of different things. So that would be the first step, is just finding a store, whether it's Costco, Aldi, or another place that you can go to get those high quality foods, and then taking them home and taking the time to cook them and create an environment in your body to help with that longevity. And then lastly, stress management for sure. That along those lines, I would suggest like breathing exercises, meditation, or just gratitude journals. Those things tend to help a lot of your mental and emotional health, just because you can get so caught up in the stress of work, the stress of life, the stress of family, all sorts of different things. And that stress raises your cortisol levels. And when your cortisol is high, that increases the inflammation in your body. So what we want to do is bring that cortisol down. And also, exercise decreases cortisol over time. It might spike the cortisol at first, but then once you get done and your body reacts to the exercise and adapts to it, it brings the cortisol down, because you're better able to adapt to stress. So as far as the mindset and the mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, so diaphragmatic breathing. I like to do square breathing. So it's 4 seconds inhale through the diaphragm, hold 4 seconds, and then 4 seconds out, and then hold 4 seconds. So this helps decrease stress, activates the vagus nerve, which is right in the brainstem, which regulates your parasympathetic nervous system, or your rest and digest. What that does is it puts your body into a state of ease, and it relaxes just systemically all over. So having that in your day, and I pair that with the meditation or prayer, those tend to help, clear your mind of things that are stressing you out, things that you can't control, and it just allows you to get into that state of relaxation. And with that, over a long period of time, will eventually decrease that chronic stress and that chronic inflammation, and that'll really help improve the quality of life.
Okay, great. So you're located in College Station, Texas, what are the most common questions you get with new patients coming through?
Most common questions is like, can you help me? Like that's one of the things. I see a lot of low back pain patients right now, a lot of sciatica. I'm seeing great results with those. Chiropractic care helps a lot with that. I had a lady come in that was limping her left leg, just she couldn't put any weight on it, and now she's walking on it. She's able to go out with her friends, able to live how she wants to live, all those things. So yeah, she's my star patient right now, but she's been doing great. But sciatica and low back pain responds really well to chiropractic. Also, they always ask like, what else can you help with? We talked about migraines. Chiropractic helps with migraines. I just had a patient come in with migraines, so got her started, and she's already feeling relief after the second adjustment. So, yeah, it's those are the two main things that I tend to have come into my office. I mean, I have some like upper back tension people that come in, or people that want to improve their posture. I actually got asked like, "Hey, is it possible to improve your posture?" I'm like, "That's like literally what I do here." You know, like that's like one of the main things that chiropractic helps with. You know, so yeah, it's a wide variety. I mean, some people like I have a lady coming in for acid reflux. She's getting relief from that. I used to have acid reflux. I started getting chiropractic care. I don't have acid reflux anymore. I have a buddy in Dallas who he used to have seizures. He started getting chiropractic care, and now he's seizure free. So it's a wide range. You can go into a rabbit hole of the different things that chiropractic helps with, but
Okay.
on paper, we're moving joints, decreasing that stress and inflammation, and your body just does what it wants to do after that. It heals the way it wants to heal.
You brought up sciatica. So can you explain to me what sciatica is? Because I hear it all the time and I don't know what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. I can actually show you too.
Okay.
So this is your spine here, and these little yellow things, these are your nerves that come out. Inside there is your spinal cord. And so what sciatica is this nerve right here. So this is your L5 vertebrae that's right in the base of your low back. This nerve right here is your sciatic nerve, and it goes down through the back, usually down the back side of your leg, into all the way down to your calf and ankle. And what happens is when that joint gets restricted and compressing on that nerve. So there we go here. I guess there's a see this right there.
Yeah.
That's a disc bulge. So two
Okay.
different ways. So one, you can have a disc injury that causes the bulge. That see how close that is to the nerve.
Mhm.
It compresses that nerve, and then that irritates the nerve and causes that sciatic pain, which is also numbness, tingling, irritation down that same pathway. Or you can have chronic inflammation in the backside here of these joints. So these joints right here, and that will compress that nerve exit. So where these nerves come out, it gets compressed. Let's see if we can do this here. So it gets compressed down, and then that causes the pain and that sharp shooting pain, the numbness, tingling in that nerve.
Okay. So sciatic nerves causing sciatica. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm here. Is it just a matter of movement and stretching before and after activities that would solve a lot of chronic movement issues for people?
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people that have had low back pain, and they started stretching, and then the pain went away. Not everyone needs to get the crazy adjustments, or these go to see somebody. Sometimes they just need to stretch, and sometimes it's just the muscle that's really tense in that area that's compressing the nerve. So whenever you exercise your body, or whenever you work out, your body tenses the muscles up, and when that tension occurs, normally it releases after a couple days whenever you recover from the exercise. But if it doesn't, as it starts to adapt and become tighter, it can cause that low back pain. It can cause that sciatic nerve pain, or it can cause different types of nerve pain all over. But that's a great first step, is stretching and making sure that you're having proper motion and proper range of motion in those muscles before moving forward, and saying like, oh crap, like I like this, like I need to see somebody for this, because I feel, it's my personal opinion, that we should you should exhaust all options before coming and getting care under anyone, whether that's a primary care, whether that's chiropractor, whether that's a PT. Like, make sure that you're doing everything in your power to prevent those issues, because ultimately our bodies were made to heal. We were made to not be in pain. So doing these things on your own, they'll help you feel empowered to actually not have pain, and actually is something that you can do. But then once that threshold gets reached and you're like, hey man, I'm stretching every day, I'm doing these exercises and nothing's working, that's whenever I'll say, hey, come on in, I'll take a look and see how I can help.
Perfect. And they can reach you on your website and just book right on the website, correct?
Book right on the website. You can go to my YouTube channel, book off the banner there. riveroflifechirocare.com is my website. Yeah, or you can call. On my website has my phone number too. So,
and if somebody calls you, asks you questions, you're happy to give them some guidance, give them some stretches to do before they come in and figure out what needs to be cracked, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to answer any questions, any lifestyle, any nutrition, anything like that. I'd be happy to help. Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Hansen. I look forward to asking you weekly questions about chiro and how you can demystify chiropractic a little bit and give us I know every week you're dealing with different clients and everybody's coming in with a different ailment, and just guide us through how you are solving those ailments for people.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man. All right. With that, I'm going to end the stream. If you want to go like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. You guys have a great day.